Good evening. Welcome to the August 17th legislative session of the Village Trustees of the Village of Ossining. This meeting is called to order. We'll begin with a pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, justice.
Trustee Bazemore?
Present.
Trustee Quezada?
Present.
Trustee Levin?
Present.
And Deputy Mayor?
Present. Thank you.
Do we have any mayors or trustees announcements?
I don't know. I have none at this time, but my fellow trustees, no?
No.
Okay.
We'll move on to administrative reports, and we'll begin with Interim Village Manager Paul Fraioli.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Board. I'll be brief with my report this evening in that we have our department heads with us for their reports. I do want to present tonight a very brief update on the ETPA vacancy study because, as you all know, if you've been following along, our second of our public hearings on ETPA is slated for September 7th at the board's executive meeting in September, legislative meeting in September, excuse me. The vacancy report was asked to be reworked, and we have received the preliminary draft, but we're still reviewing it internally. But I'm going to give you a heads-up look to what I hope to send out to the board and then make public maybe by the end of the week. We have, in the first iteration of the report, 13 out of 71 properties that were contacted, which equilibrates to 579 units out of the 1,259 total units that the village does agree, and as per the assessor's records, that's how many units exist in the village. So the 18% that looks like, and 46% of the units was on the previous study. This second study, when it was redone with the assessor's actual numbers, and we agreed on what they were including, the consultant was able to reach 1,227 units, or 94% of the units in the village, to check on their vacancy. I can tell you in advance that the report is still indicating a less than 5% vacancy. However, we do not want to concur with that number until we finish calling the balance of units that were not contacted, which I believe is 4 property owners, which we're going to try to do this week via phone or certified mail or any other way necessary so we can shoot for that 100% contact number. And concurrent with that, we're going to do checks on the resident or the property owners that were contacted. We're gonna do spot checks as a quality control measure. That's it for my report tonight because, again, the managers are here. But in Superintendent Soy's absence, he did email me his report. So I'd like to read that to you. For his recreation programs, he has had a successful summer season of programs, and here are a few highlights. In the Summer Rec Day Camp program, they have 420 campers across their 5 day camps, grades pre-K through 8. Camps operated in 4 different locations, with 2 sites at Ossining Schools, Claremont and Brookside. Chris would like to thank Superintendent Ray Sanchez and his school staff for being so welcoming and accommodating in their efforts with those facilities. There's been the introduction of 6 camp trips to the Veterans Park Camp program, and it was very well received. We will look to build on the trip program in the future camp seasons. The trips included a New York Liberties basketball game at Madison Square Garden, Splashdown Water Park, and Lake Compounce Amusement Park. Their after-camp program operated out of the community center and had 40 registered participants. By offering transportation from our different camp locations to the community center, this program provides important child care services to families over the course of the summer. Created and distributed an online day camp parents survey during the last week of camp. Responses have allowed us to gain important feedback on the 2016 program, as well as gather usable information to improve upon the program. They completed a post-camp debrief with full-time recreation staff that oversee the day camp counselors. and program. The staff were pleased with the overall camp operation this summer, and we are already working to make 2017 Summer Day Camp program a better experience for both campers and their parents. Relative to the pool and aquatic center, during one of our busiest times of the year, the pool and spray deck operation ran well. No maintenance, chemicals, and mechanical issues arose, unlike some more high-profile pools. I'm looking at you, Rio. I'm just reading it. I guess it's all in the delivery. I laughed, Chris. A reminder that after Labor Day, starting on Tuesday, September 6th, the pool will be closed for approximately a week until our scheduled reopening date of Monday, September 12th. During this time, the pool will be drained and acid washed. Also, repairs will be made to any cracks or holes in the pool surface. This is a needed cleaning that will not only help brighten the pool surface and remove staining, but also provide an opportunity to survey the pool surface and make repairs. Their fall programs. Fall program planning has been ongoing over the summer, and the Fall 2016 program brochure will be posted online and made available to public this Friday, August 19th. Once posted on Friday, the community can always access the brochure by visiting the Recreation and Parks page of the village website. Also, fall program registration will begin both in person and online on Wednesday, September 7th at 9 a.m. Regarding parks and facilities, Parks Department is currently in the process of completing the fall 2016 athletic field and facility assignments for our department programs, Ossining High School teams and youth sports organizations. They've completed an updated Ossining Parks map that illustrates the locations of our parks and gives brief description of what each park offers. These maps are currently available at the rec office and will be part of the upcoming fall program brochure. Regarding special events, Ossining Summer Waterfront Concert Series at Engle Park rolls on with the Mike Risco Band performing this Friday at 7 p.m. The series will conclude the following Friday, August 26th, with the Party in the Park event, which will include a performance by students from the Risco School of Music program, followed by the Old Mill Singers, and capped off with a DJ dance party hosted by Johnny G. Also, to stay up to date on all department happenings, make sure to visit the department's web page at villageofossining.org, as well as the Ossining Recreation and Parks Facebook page. Or feel free to call us at 941-3189. And as always, you can visit the Recreation office at the Community Center to assess all program information. Thank you.
We'll move on to Corporation Counsel, Lori Lee Dixon.
Good evening. Just have one item on your agenda this evening, the call for a public hearing. It's item F. I just wanted to speak to this. This is introductory local law number 6, and it's entitled the Code of Ethics. This is the culmination of a lot of hard work by a subcommittee, and it's now coming forward as a wholesale replacement of Chapter 17 of the Village Code. So this would be on for a public hearing. This is announcing that hearing on September 7th, 2016. And of course, we do have 2 public hearings on that evening. As we've just said, the ETPA adjourned hearing will be continued that night. And then this hearing will be on as well to talk about introductory law, local law number 6. I just want to remind the public and the board that this was posted to the website about a week ago. Thank you to Joseph for getting on that right away. And it's also it's on my webpage, and it's also on the landing page. So if anybody needs a copy of it in hard copy form, copies are available at the clerk's office as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Police Chief Kevin Sylvester.
Good evening. This past week, we got some final closure on our 2014 homicide investigation that took place with a life sentence to the defendant in that case. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge the outstanding work from our detective division, retired Detective Lieutenant Bill Sullivan and Lieutenant Giorgio now, who did a fantastic job leading all of their detectives on that one. Glad to have a positive an outcome as you can have from a case like that. This week we've got our next Movies in the Park coming up. We'll be doing with the Ossining Elks and with the folks from the Recreation and Parks Department. Tomorrow night, right around 9 p.m. or thereabouts for sundown in Engle Park, we're going to watch Cars. Great family movie, so we'd like to encourage everybody to come out and check that out with us. Should be a good time. The Elks Club is going to be providing hot dogs. The PBA will have popcorn, so it should be a good time. And again, a good family event. Going forward, we're going to be focusing on training and community policing issues. Going into the next few weeks, we're running into our next departmental firearms qualification, and we're planning some special operations training at a few venues around the area with surrounding jurisdictions, which are pretty exciting. Community policing issues, we've been talking a lot about Main Street and some of the other places around here and helping with some of the businesses. So you should see more police officers out walking around, speaking to people. We're also looking at some traffic issues that are specific to complaints that we've had. And we're gearing up for back to school. So we'll start now with reminding people that when they see school buses and the stop sign is out, you have to stop, particularly on South Highland Avenue, North Highland Avenue, where the roads are more than 2 lanes and folks are sometimes confused as to what the rule is. If the bus is out and if the bus is stopped and the stop sign is out, we ask people to stop to allow the kids to cross safely. And that's all I got for tonight.
Chief.
Sure. Paul?
Assuming you were concluded, Chief? Okay. One thing I did leave out, you received an email, but I did want to state it publicly. There's going to be a lot of activity around our Main Street, Spring Street area next Monday and Tuesday. There's been a lot of Hollywood in Ossining this past few months, and we have CBS, I believe, holds the, help me out, what's the name? Elementary, thank you. Elementary will be filming inside the Vaza Salon on Monday and Tuesday next week. And they've went through all the proper permitting processes, so that's definitely covered. But there's going to be a bustling place on Monday with that activity. And that's kind of neat, so I wanted to announce it publicly so everybody knew what was going on down there.
Or is there another day?
Right now, Monday and Tuesday are the 2 days that they've
Okay.
asked for. And this past week, there was a John Turturro film being filmed at the Boathouse, but that was a little more out of
Out of the
all
way.
the activity downtown, but
Yeah.
still just as neat nonetheless. Thank you.
We'll move on to Superintendent of Water and Sewers, Andrew Teese.
Good evening. Some major work's going on now. Indian Brook Reservoir is presently at 70% capacity. Last month we were at 83% capacity. That's the big capital project that we're working on right now, the spillway and the intake structures. Currently we're purchasing 80% of our water from New York City. Last month we purchased 90%, so we're trying to draw our reservoir down, use as much of our own water, which is free. We're 7 feet below the spillway, so it's pretty key because right now they're excavating the spillway alongside the earthen dam, so we need to keep that 7-foot buffer in case there were any huge storms while they're building the structure. So speaking of the structure, so Indian Brook Dam project, the contractor's on site. They started construction about 9 weeks ago. Office trailers are in place. All the silt fencing is installed for any erosion because it's an area of influence. We've been having weekly progress meetings. Everything's on schedule. The contractor's completely removed the spillway, and they're actually forming the rebar and getting ready to pour the concrete in the lower basin. So this project, in case anybody forgets, it's scheduled to be completed in 365 days. So it's on schedule. So next year, and they'll keep going through the winter. Water main relining project, bypass piping for Eastern, Elizabeth Street, Tompkins Avenue, Church Street, Prospect, Linden. Everything's been approved, put in place. So all the bypass piping is set to operate as they're cutting open the old mains and they're cleaning them and relining them. The new 12-inch water main on Snowden Avenue is 100% complete. This infrastructure improvement will greatly improve water quality and fire protection for the waterfront. So this was paid for by the Ginsburg project. It was estimated to be $1.8 million, and it's going to make a big difference for us at the waterfront. water breaks and service leaks since last report: 49 Park Avenue, 6-inch break; 9 Upper Croton Avenue, 6-inch break; and then the big break we had at 9A in Stormytown Road, the 12-inch break. I think Paul had talked about it last meeting that I wasn't here. That was a fast mobilization from the water department. Right now we're analyzing the actual material of the pipe so we could see the useful life of this pipe. But we used our annual contractor, which I met with today. He's almost finished with reestablishing the area of influence where we've had these 3 breaks in the last year. So it's parts of the pipes where the creek bed was undermined. So imagine pipe just being suspended in midair in certain sections. So that's all good, but we're looking at making that a capital project within the next year, and before we make it a capital project, we want to see the useful life of the pipe. On the highway side, we're 100% complete with the road construction. So basically the milling, setting of manhole elevations, and blacktopping of Pine and Meadowbrook. That was a pretty big job. We used the annual bidder, and then we used in-house forces to do a lot of the elevation changes. I think that's it.
Andy, when will the striping be done on for?
I talked to the general foreman. I believe it's the end of next week, and you and I haven't talked about that yet, but that's what was brought up.
Yeah, I mean, it did a beautiful job.
Yep.
Really, really nice road work. Thank you.
I could tell you that the $47,000 plus or minus dollars that we received as the Pave New York extension on our CHIPS money, our increase to our CHIPS money, was used to include some of the tributary road entrances into Pine, which was a nice feature there because they were compromised as well. And also, after we went down a little further from Meadowbrook, and we enveloped some piping rock into that project as well, and made some drainage improvements that are now offset with that money, where we won't have to come back and look for additional money on the existing PO with our annual bidder. So thank you, Andy.
Village Treasurer Tom, Warren.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor, members of the Board of Trustees. We have now completed the second installment of the 2016 village property taxes that were due without penalty by July 31st. I'm pleased to report that we have collected 97.9% of the 2016 tax levy, with the unpaid current taxes at just less than $463,000, which is consistent but is less than the amount that was unpaid as of a year ago. And we're still trying to collect the remaining balance too. But I'm even more happier to give an update on the prior year tax liens. We're down to less than $200,000 at this point, which was $314,000 as of a year ago, and more than $500,000 at the start of the year. So a big thank you to those that have been involved with collecting the unpaid tax liens to bring them down to this point. And on a related matter, back on August 10th, when the foreclosure auction was held, and I mention this because the 4 parcels that were sold were all in the village. There was a single-family house, a 2-family house, a 3-family house, and a lot on Hunter Street. They all sold, and it's good news that some of these homes that were in disrepair will hopefully be rebuilt and with families living in them. So it's good news for the village. Sales tax distribution. We received the second quarterly sales tax distribution payment of $912,053, a bit more than 0.5% higher than the amount from the second quarter of 2015, and 2.77% more than the first quarterly 2016 payment. And this brings us to just less than 50% of the budgeted sales tax distribution for the 2016 year. Water and sewer rents, in as much as the water and sewer rents are billed on past consumption, mostly in quarterly cycles, it takes time for revenue trends to start showing. As of August of this year, starting to see some trends. Right now, our water and sewer rents are at about 44% of the amount budgeted for the year, respectively, which is consistent with what it's been in the past. Dollar-wise, the water and sewer rents are 3.7% higher than the amount collected year-to-date for 2015. And finally, I did want to report that we've resumed our Munis training. We've had the turnaround of our new chart of accounts, and we've actually had some actual training this week. We're still waiting for prior year data to be loaded, so we've decided to go ahead and use the KVS budget module to allow the department heads to input their budgets, since they're familiar with the existing codes already. And at some point during the budget process, before the end of the year, we're going to actually transition the budget to Munis. We're going to be doing the budget on Munis parallel to KVS, so that we can make sure that everything balances, and then we'll just slide in the budget on KVS with a new chart of accounts when the budget gets adopted in December. And we're actually live with the new accounting software come January 2017. And we also started implementation of the payroll module when the implementers met with us for a week in early August to get that module underway as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Director of Planning and Development, Lynn Brooks Abney.
Evening, board. So it's going to be really short tonight. Building department and the planning department are working pretty much business as usual. We're looking to streamline, as you know. We've also been handling some additional code complaints we've gotten on via our email system. And we are right now working on revising our permits so that they can they can go live for next year. And we're currently working on setting up our calendars for our land use boards for next year. And we're continuing to partner with other departments and agencies.
Thank you.
On to organizational announcements. Not seeing anyone. Village board resolutions. Seeing anyone, we'll move into the adoption of the resolutions. Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the August 3rd, 2016 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the August 10th, 2016 public meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated August 17th, 2016, the amount of $1,006,720.30. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby places Benjamin Plaka on driver training for the fire department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby removes Hyatt Castro from the active roles of the Ossining Fire Department, Washington Hook and Ladder Company Number 2. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, in Ossining on September 7th, 2016 at 7:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard. Consider the matter of introductory local law number 6, 2016, entitled Code of Ethics, a local law replacing Chapter 17 of the Village Code of the Village of Ossining. Do Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Future resolutions. Is there any continuing business of the board?
No, ma'am.
Is there any new business of the board?
No, ma'am.
Seeing any visitors, might I move to have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That concludes our meeting for August 17th. Thank you very much. Remember, our next meeting, we will not be meeting next week for a work session, and we have a fifth Wednesday following. So our next meeting will be September 7th. We'll have two public hearings on that day, one for ETPA and the other for the Ethics Code. Enjoy the next few weeks. Please be safe in your travels. This meeting is adjourned.